This is the reference video for the Veeblefetzer 2014 Invent team. Just want to go through some of the details here that made this work. One of the issues was the phone sliding down on this incline from the Bojangles box. Using a piece of duct tape controlled the friction so that basically you could make the phone definitely stay up. Okay, you can see it's just very marginal at this point. Coming through here, a string underneath a lever is holding the trebuchet down, which is the next step. Important thing here, look at this, how the trebuchet is held, making the wire go through these bends and then back through this, what do you call, tie wrap here, produces enough friction so you don't need a lot of tension. Without that wiring, the trebuchet hold down will never work. Okay, that took a long time for you guys to figure that out. Okay, coming up to the next step where you have the ball drop, trebuchet hits the ball. Do you guys have anything specific you had to talk about on this?
Just the slightest movement will move the ball.
Right, slightest movement, hit the box, the ball goes down here, goes through the ball track into the little Brio trains.
Going to need to have some inclination on it because...
Right, lots of, take a look down here. See these little foam shims? These were necessary to get things working. There's a foam shim back here on the Brio that made this work, and also notice the blocks that are on the sides that are making sure that when the ball bounces, it keeps itself in the track. Okay, so that was real essential. Ken, you did everything on this. I didn't even know how you managed to figure this guy out.
I mean, really, this is just important. This, when it comes to having this released, just barely touching it would make it go off. So it's just about being really precise. And
yeah. If you want to put that part on a certain part of the truck, and then you want to have this green part so that when the ball comes down, the ball has enough force to make it actually come off of the truck.
Right, and it doesn't have to be accurate because you use that big area over there. Okay, then you use this kind of chalk technique where you have a ball on the track with a block and a string tied to the truck. Whenever the truck moves, you pull the chalk. That lets the ball basically drop down into the little bucket. Now, Ken, can you talk about that cutting out of the edges of the bucket?
Yeah.
What is that about?
So on the bucket, as you can see right here, it's got these edges that come around for the convenience of the top going over it when it's actually in use of food. But when using it here, it seems like these sharp edges seem to keep getting stuck in the littlest spaces possible and keeping the whole thing from working. So a better suggestion would just be have smooth edges around buckets and all kinds of things. Another important thing is the way you can connect your strings or the fishing line, whatever you may use. If you use duct tape or anything, that will also get stuck on the surrounding items as well. Okay.
You used a wooden spool up here, and to reduce the friction, you put a straw inside the wooden spool so that it would rotate a little bit easier. You guys probably have to adjust that to make sure it's set up from there. So controlling friction with smooth parts like a straw.
The one side of the pulley, we had to control it as it comes up because it wanted to swing from side to side or even hit the other part of the pulley. The one side would hit the other, so the little part would hit the bucket. And so we added that piece of cardboard so that the one side could come up without being interacted with by the bucket.
Okay, and you guys come out with this really cool chalk, basically a piece that wraps around the back that also comes to the front. You had a couple of fishing lines holding that, so when the bucket comes up and flips the back chalk, the front can release and let that go down. You guys come up with that to be able to go from there.
And then a second pulley system right here. Same concept with the edges. It could get stuck on little things around it. Matt, you came up with this.
We put a little string right here to make sure that the cardboard can only come up so far, and then the ball it kind of holds the cardboard down, and the string keeps it from going up.
Right. And you put a tiniest little piece of foam block in front of the ball to basically hold the ball in there.
Yep.
Okay, you can see it right there from that standpoint. Then onto the mousetrap. The mousetrap was a hard target. Adding a piece to it to make it bigger made it a much more usable target to be able to work from there.
Yep.
Okay, the last action is an air tank which is filled up through PVC or surgical tubing. To get the surgical tubing to seal, basically put a 1/8 inch dowel around it, locked it in, pulled it tight to the fulcrum, and then when you pull it down, it can basically seal off the air. When the mousetrap pops, it unfolds the tubing and lets the air flow, which takes to the last step, which is your basically balloon inflates, which push the ball into the final hoop.